Good morning, YouTube. My apologies for the vertical video, but I'm carrying a box. It's nothing special, just recycling, but it's one less box cluttering up the kitchen, which is kind of a drop in the bucket on how much needs to be done to my kitchen, to say nothing of the rest of the apartment, but it's something. That's an excuse to get the hell out of there. So it's 1:45 in the afternoon. January 1st, 2022, and there's another RV, street camping, California style. It's kind of an Arizona thing now, I guess. Although based on some videos I've seen, it's sort of a kind of an almost everywhere in the country thing. In fact, I think the one I fell asleep watching was showing how much the homeless situation is infecting Seattle. Kind of funny, like it was one of the things it was presenting, and I wish I could remember whose video it was. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I was watching that video on my second Obama phone, and the battery died as I was about 3/4 of the way through the video, so I didn't get to see the whole thing. So I can't remember what YouTube channel it's on. It's a channel I've only kind of been watching recently. There's somebody camping under an umbrella. All right. Anyway, it was just realized I was about to cross the street, and then I realized now I'm going south because I got a box of recycling, so I need to go to my storage. Whether they're open today or not, I still need to go in there and drop off this box and deal with my day from there. Anyway, back to this. Sorry, I just don't focus that well these days. Anyway, we call it the video. So the video I was watching, it was talking about the homeless situation in Seattle. It's a very new one. Just came out within the last couple of weeks. Went through several areas where there's just loads and loads of RVs and vehicles parked, people living in their vehicles. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last videos that I did when I went to California. Last trip that I took to California, to the LA area. Basically, we're kind of, I could split it up. It's kind of split up into three separate and distinct parts. Like there was kind of the first part of going to Orange County to visit my friend that's been helping me with the scooters, whom I haven't heard from much lately, which is a little frustrating. And then after that, went to Venice Beach, spent quite a bit of time on Venice Beach, mostly because I wanted to see what was up with that, since I've been watching German in Venice so much at that point. That was interesting. I had a good time over there, even though I didn't have much money to spend. And then other than that, I went to gosh, I remember walking with somebody and talking about the person quite a bit, and I kept saying I was going to do another video and explain more what happened with that guy, and now I can't even remember his name. Walking with him, we ended up going to Santa Monica, and then he told me about a bar in Santa Monica that he was absolutely convinced could use something like my karaoke show. And I ended up going to that bar and talking to people at that bar who encouraged me even more. And I ended up talking with the manager the next day, who pretty much said he wasn't interested, which, I guess I should be really used to that sort of thing by now, and it didn't come as a big shock, but it's it's so there was time spent in Santa Monica because of that. And I also found a karaoke bar in Santa Monica that did karaoke like 7 nights a week. So there was that. But the other place that I went that was pretty notable is so that girl's distracting. Loving her long flowing hair. Anyway, where was I? You know, and the thing is, she probably just woke up in that park and is walking from there. I could be wrong, but dang. Entirely too cute to be walking alone. Anyway, where was I? No, and the other place that I went was I forget exactly where it was, but it was on the other side, you know, from it was south of Marina del Rey, like on the other side of Marina del Rey from Venice Beach in the wetlands. And what I was doing over there, aside from just generally exploring, which I love doing in my car, especially in a city that I'm not in all that much, I'm trying to find a shady enough spot to see the screen on my other Obama phone, so I can see when the bus is coming. Phone is starting. Wow, the stupid thing hasn't even booted yet. I powered it up before I... Wow. I wonder if this phone just needs like to have a thing like after it's booted where it loads the screen as opposed to like having that done and ready to go. I want to talk about my phone situation too, but not yet. So anyway, what I ended up, one of the things I was looking for in all of that exploring at that point was somewhere to sleep, because I had been up definitely like probably over 24 hours. I was super tired, and getting a hotel was definitely out of the budget. So what I was looking for was a place where I could sleep in my car, but not be harassed for sleeping in my car, which is definitely something a lot of homeless people with cars are trying to do nightly. And after seeing all I'd seen, I figured there, you know, had to be a spot where that was a thing. I just had to find one of those spots. But on the same token, one of those spots that didn't look crazy and sketchy, because not only did I not want to be messed with by the police for sleeping in my car, but I also didn't want to be messed with by other homeless people or junkies or bums or panhandlers. So, you know, that's kind of a happy medium I was trying to find. And you know, was I homeless? Not exactly. I mean, I had a home in Phoenix, but I'm hundreds of miles away from it. But granted, I mean, I had enough credit. I could have just easily gone to a hotel, but kind of wasn't the point, kind of wasn't the mindset. So next bus, 2:06 p.m. It's 1:54 p.m. So that's just a wee bit over 10 minutes away. And looks like I hate how when I open the bus app, oh yeah, you can't see that. When I open the bus app, there's so little screen real estate left to where the tracking is. It's hard to see where the bus is at. I wish they... And the killer is, and I wish you could see this, the killer is that when it does that, not only is there so little screen real estate to see where the bus is, because of the way it spaces out the schedule, the minimum view of a bus schedule for that route below it. But the bus schedule for that route below it is, I would say, about 75% white space. So I mean, if they just simply cut out the completely does nothing white space down to just lines of text, it would nearly triple the amount of view that's left for looking at where the bus is. It would make this app so much more functional. Anyway, it shows it's a Coulter, which is just north of Camelback. So yeah, bus will be here soon. Anyway, where I ended up going was along those wetlands, which is kind of interesting because just further inland from the wetlands is an area that is all like upper end retail and high end luxury apartments, and above the wetlands is luxury homes and townhouses. And I'm talking, multi-million-dollar houses up on the sides of a hill overlooking the wetlands and the ocean. But down in the wetlands, alongside the street I was parked on, whose name I don't remember, I wish I did, was basically a homeless encampment that consisted all of people living in their vehicles. Like, I didn't see any tents, I didn't see any people just lying on the ground wrapped up in blankets, but I saw a lot of vehicles. And my impression of that particular encampment was, wow, look at that guy, just bicycle right through heavy traffic to cross the street. I wish I'd have cut that in video a little better. I wish I wasn't shooting vertical. There's a definite we don't give a fuck about you and your car attitude amongst pedestrians and people on bicycles. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'm feeling a strong part of it at this point. And kind of a general fuck you to everybody that has a car, from everybody that doesn't have a car. That's a definite vibe on the street. Oh God, and I let that out in the best way yesterday on my way to Wander In, which I definitely haven't vlogged about. In fact, I haven't shot a vlog since that. I'll talk about that, but first I want to finish up about this homeless encampment. I ended up sleeping there, and to be fair, I did have a couple people come up and bother me a little bit, but I mean, not much. Nobody woke me up. It was after I woke up, a couple people came up. Apparently they thought I was somebody else whom I wasn't, which, that happens, whatever. Anyway, yeah, the general vibe I got while I was there was that these are mostly people that just have jobs or otherwise have things that they're doing in the day. They're not just laying around on drugs, just taking up space, as it seems like a lot of homeless people are doing, or pushing around shopping carts full of garbage, but rather these are people that are just existing in their vehicle because they don't have anywhere, can't afford a place to stay, or realizing that it would cost so much of their income to afford a place to stay that it's counterproductive and just makes more sense to their life goals to stay in their car, whether those life goals are to try to get an apartment or to maybe get enough money to move out of Southern California, or to another part of move out of Southern California, or to just whatever, just put away money exists. Like, I would imagine some of those people are to the point where they've downsized to the point they're comfortable living in their RV. And there's definitely like some RVs that I saw that had cars parked near them, and it's possible if that RV is their home and they feel secure enough in locking it in that particular encampment, and they also have a car that they drive to wherever they're going, whether that's to work or to socialize or what have you. Anyway, the video I was watching last night or this morning, it was it covered quite a bit of ground and of course the guy was just like, oh, this is terrible, and yeah, I guess to a point it is terrible, but it was covering a lot of ground like that in Seattle. The other thing he showed quite a bit of was some different like what they were calling transitional tiny home communities, and most of these were like an industrial lot filled with identical, although for whatever reason painted different colors, sheds that people were dwelling in. And these sheds were just, they were fun. They were just that. They were just sheds. I mean, they basically room for a bed, room for a chair, room for a table, a door, and a heater, and nothing else. And these like a 20 watt electrical, 20 watts of electrical. But no kitchen, no bathroom. That's all communal. And it was interesting. The guy doing the video was trying to talk to people to actually get in and tour one and get some explanation of, like, what, just ask some basic interview type questions of, what does it, who is living here, what does it take to live here, what is required of the people that live here, just questions that people want to know about these, and was running into a whole lot of I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you. At one point, he did finally find somebody that let him inside so he could show what it was like inside the sheds and what it was like, on the grounds. And I mean, I could see myself living in a small. All right, we got another pedestrian jaywalking. Right, wow, that beam almost hit him. Beamer almost nailed you. Yeah, it was quite the thing seeing inside it. And it didn't really answer like what the day-to-day life was, but there was and at that point admittedly, I was kind of falling asleep, so I didn't hear everything that was being said and didn't focus on it as much as I should have. But one thing that definitely caught my attention and stuck in my mind was they were asking, honestly, I don't think it was when he was interviewing anybody. It was when he came out, I was looking at his sign, saying like kind of what the rules were at the gates. And it was something like, must identify yourself, show ID or whatever, and say what unit number you live in. But the one thing that really like hit me as a huge red flag of like, whoa, couldn't live like that, was no visitors. No visitors. Is it really your home if you can't have a visitor? I mean, no visitors. And as soon as I heard that, it was like, yeah, I'd rather be living in a tent or in a car in that area where there's a whole bunch of people parked living in cars. Yeah, no visitor would be a deal breaker for me. And it kind of took me back to like when I was homeless and what would be considered a visitor. And one of the main things I was dealing with when I was homeless was trying to get my daughter back in. I had her 3 days a week. So would she be considered a visitor? Because there was nothing more important to me than her being with me when I had her, But yeah, would she be considered a visitor? The other thing that was very important to me is the fact that I'm a grown-ass man and looking to get some every now and then, certainly as much as I can, and I did have a fairly active social life, or social life and sex life, when I was homeless, and oh shit, there comes my bus, and I have to wrap this up. But yeah, I definitely would want that person visiting in my bed.